Hey, so I'll kick it off real quick. First and foremost, thank you all for being here. This is amazing, beautiful. Francis and I, we talk a lot about these elevated conversations events, and we try to bring different ideas as to what we're going to talk about within the cannabis industry. But God has an amazing way of just giving you an idea to maybe pivot or turn, do something differently. So as Francis is trying to figure out the next elevated conversation for the month of April, I realized that I've been in contact with my good friend Ray. I've known Keyshawn for well over 10 plus years. And my newest good friend, my man Tone, like we're all in the same game. I said, you know what?
Sure.
How more fitting would it be for us to get in front of an audience or just get in the public and discuss our journeys of being licensed cannabis dispensary owners? And I said, you know what? That's what it's gonna be. But I think more often than not, when people get into any type of business and someone's across town and you're on this side of town and someone's uptown, everybody trying to see who's doing what. It's more of a competitive thing. But what I've learned when I got into the business was everyone's gunning for everybody. So it's the community piece. So the fact that my partner Ray, he'll introduce himself in a few, he's in Bushwick. I'm here in Clinton Hills. Brother Keyshawn's in 14th Street, Union Square, and my man Tone's up in Harlem. We could just connect and just share and build and bond with one another. So today we're going to share our stories, how it happened, how we got our licenses, the pitfalls, and then we're going to answer any questions you guys might have afterward. But with that being said, I'll let my good friend Ray just introduce himself, and real quick, and then after that we're going to talk about what got us started into the cannabis industry. But Ray, you go first.
My name is Ramon Roman. Friends know me as Baby. Bushwick, you had a little slang thing. Born and raised Bushwick, Brooklyn all my life. It's a great, I don't know what to say. Like, it's a dream come true.
Amen.
Selling weed illegally, and to where I'm at now. It's basically a dream come true, I have one store. My first location is in Bushwick, Brooklyn. We the second dispensary. We was trying to shoot for that first dispensary, that first one in Brooklyn. Didn't make it. Sucks. It's okay. With the first one in Bushwick. It's amazing. It's been a long journey. It wasn't easy. I'm still learning. Being from the hood, not knowing certain vocabulary that they use. It was hard for me. And like I said, I'm still learning. I'm just glad. I'm just happy for the journey, to be honest with you guys.
You know what's cool about Ray, guys? He opened his second dispensary in Manhattan. I come out of my doctor's office, I shoot Ray a text. His new dispensary is a block away from my doctor's office. So guess what I do? I pop up,
Right.
I go in there, and this is what we do. You don't just go into a dispensary. If you're in the game, you go in there and you make a purchase.
That's right.
Facts.
That's right.
And then someone asked me a while ago, like, but Ted, why would you buy that? You don't get it.
Yeah.
Some people don't understand the word support.
Right.
So I pop up into the dispensary, unannounced, he didn't know I was going, talk to his bud tenders, which is what we call the clerks, people on the floor. They were gracious, Ray. They were amazing. You on Lexington on like 82nd Street or something like that?
81st.
81st and Lex.
81st in Lexington.
Beautiful space. So he got his second one. And I was glad I was able to support him. Then next we have on the panel real quick, guys, is my frat brother, Phi Beta Sigma Blue Phi. My man Keyshawn Warner. Yo, we met back in the days through the network marketing space. And good dude. You still doing training? You doing physical training?
Not anymore.
He was a trainer back then. He was bigger than everybody in Diesel. But then fast forward, I bumped into him about a year and a half ago, and he was opening on Union Square. But Keyshawn, tell him who you are, what you got going on real quick.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? My name is Keyshawn Warner. I go by Low Key. I am one of the owners of Days Cannabis. You can find us on Union Square, right by the park on 17th Street. I also own two other locations up in Massachusetts, one in Holyoke and one in Munson. So I own and operate 3 right now currently, with another one up by Syracuse University slated to open within the next week or two, best case scenario. I'm from Harlem, you know what I'm saying? East Side, more specifically First Avenue. Wilson Projects, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. So But I'm here, you know what I'm saying, amongst my peers. I'm thankful to be here, thankful to invite me. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to just, hear everybody's story. My story is like everybody else's. Growing up when we grew up, I was born in 78, so I'm 46 now, so going throughout the whole crack era. We already know what it is. We know how it was, and by the chance, I end up catching. One time, I end up now finally catching a charge. It was light, but it qualified me for the CARD program, which was allowed me to be one of the first to grab a license in New York State. I was able to meet some of the qualifications, one of them being, you had to have some type of cannabis arrest from like 2008 and before. And if you're from New York, you dodge a lot more than you got caught. So, unfortunately, but fortunately enough for me, the one time I did get caught was what allowed me to be in contention to get the license. And was once they put out the requirements in New York State to see if you was able to qualify to even submit an application for the license, I realized I checked all the boxes, and then at that point it's a crapshoot. Put my name in the hat like everybody else, and I was one of the first to get called. So, my license number is number 8. So,
Wow.
up there.
Number 8.
Clap it up for
I'm
him,
number
y'all.
57.
Love.
Super
8.
Yo, the crazy thing, real quick, so the crazy thing about Keyshawn is, like, I met him again 10 plus years ago in the network marketing space, and one of my partners here, my partner Mike, said, yo, one of our frat brothers opened up a dispensary at Union Square, meet me there. I said, all right, I'll meet you there. So we go on, we walk in, we walk up, they start talking, yeah, boy, his name is Keyshawn. I said, Keyshawn what? I said, no. So I didn't even know it was his dispensary. He wasn't even there at the time, but all of a sudden I'm like, you see how it all comes full circle? It's like, we're in the same game. Me and his brother hung out back in the days kicking it. Now he's in the industry. I'm dying to get started, but he was already up and running. It's crazy, but small world. But go ahead, Big T, what you got, baby?
Yeah, my name is Anthony Gonzalez. Everybody calls me Tone. I'm originally I'm from the Bronx. Born in East Harlem, but my family migrated. We went to the Bronx, and I've been, Bronx bred most of my life, but I've always had a foot in Harlem, East Side, West Side, both sides. So, I'm a product of my environment. I came from the streets. I came from the bottom. I did it all. I went through everything. Came home. I did 10 years in federal prison, broken up in two situations, and I had made a decision to finally, you know what, I'm changing my life forever. Like, I'm never going back. And I started, I created a 5-year plan. I would do a 5-year plan every 5 years, right? And I was in a cannabis game years ago. And I always said, like, there's people now that walk into my dispensary. My dispensary is in Harlem, Dynasty Commodities, 114th and 8th Avenue, right across the street from my man.
Row house, yeah.
My man,
Right across the row house, baby.
Row house.
Right.
You
So
know,
you can eat and smoke, eat and smoke.
Right, eat and smoke. And that's what we be doing right now. We got a flow going like this, back and forth. So it's beautiful. I had this vision years ago. You look at, I always, I stop at, I go to an Italian restaurant, you see this old picture, black and white picture of I'm always interested in that picture. I always ask the waitress, who's that right there? And most times you hear, oh, the waitress may say, that's my great-grandfather or my grandfather, or someone, oh, that's the owner, that's their grandfather or their father. And I was like, wow. And, and I was always impressed by that, right? And we don't see that a lot with us, right? Mm-hmm. People of color, we don't live, like, I'm like, damn, this is dope, because this man he's dead 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. And here it is, he done passed on a legacy that's still living on and living on and living on. And then I do construction. So I became a WMBE contractor. I do jobs with the city. I do commercial jobs too and residential, but more now with the city. I do a lot of city jobs. And I seen the same thing. And this time it was a Hispanic that she was speaking. Now she's running a $100 million company. First thing she puts on the wall is a picture of a father in a construction uniform with a hammer and a tape measure. And he was the one that started it. And here it is. And I'm like, man, this is what it is, building that generational wealth and passing it on so that when we're not here no more, that it continues to live on. Like, what are we here for? This is how I live my life. you know, I look at not only my kids, I got a granddaughter now. So I'm looking at my granddaughter. I'm like, my grandkids, you got to learn this and get into this. And so, you know, we fought for this thing, you know, and it wasn't, it was an uphill battle. We thought we was gonna be one of those eights, you know, the first eights, you know, and we didn't, you know. So that was it was disheartening, but me and my team, we was resilient, man. We just kept, you know, this is the thing that God does and it showed us is that it allowed us to become stronger in adversity, right? We became stronger. We trusted in each other, and now we created the best bond. And now me as a licensee, at one time I was like, damn, did I make the right choice picking my team? And now I don't question that. Like I know I got a dope team, like my team. And I noticed that with this in cannabis, you need a team. It's not a one-man army. It's not. And I've done a lot of businesses that way. And I've realized, and then construction starts showing me, nah, team is where it's at. You got to trust in your team. And now with the cannabis, I'm trusting my team, man, and it's a blessing.
That's good. You got a good team, man.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes, man, dealing with these employees. I mean, not all employees are, you know, but you know, some of them can get a little, you know, you meet them, you do the interview, it's all dandy. You hear what they want to hear, but then once give it like 2-3 weeks, man, it should be different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but it's good, you know, that you have a good team that you can confine on. I mean, right now my team is getting better, as you know. I mean, there's always room for progress.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm happy to hear that you happy with your staff.
Yeah.
That's a very big thing, you know.
See, we're just starting to develop like the bud tenders and all that, right? So that, you know, like
Real quick, Tim,
You
you guys, everybody knows what bud tender, you know what a bud tender is? Yeah. Because we're going to be using these terms that people know, well, for those who don't know, bud tenders are like bartenders, but they sell bud.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So that's the term in the industry, bud tenders. We don't say salespeople, it's bud tenders. All right? Okay.
Before I get into, I want to commend my guy Ted, man. He this, I ain't gonna front, B. This is such a dope thing that you're doing to get us together, right? Because us coming up in the hoods, like we never owned a piece of our hood. You know, it was always the Chinese, you know, the guy, you know, the Hispanics that owned the bodega. I'm Hispanic, but you know, it was always you taking it back to your country. You was never, you know, bringing it back into the community. And for you to get us together, man, it's so dope that we're able to empower each other and build on something so that we can, you know, create this alliance early because they coming. They coming.
That's right.
They coming, and they coming to take it over. And part of our hold up on our license, I built out my space a year ago, and we carried that rent all the way through. That was almost $300,000 that we spent that just went to the landlord.
No, I know.
It's a Jewish guy, by the way. And so here it is. There were times that we felt defeated. Like, yo, man, we're gonna keep pushing this. I had no choice because it's all on me now. You know, it's like my team can walk away. I can't go get another dispensary, you know. So it was just on me. And then, you know, I had to push and be resourceful, right? I knew a lot of people. I know a lot of people. I used my resources, politicians, friends that one time with me on the street, they had union guys, they big union reps, and you know, doing bigger things, you know, in the political sector. So you know, that helped us. That helped us a lot. But I'm telling you, man, it was almost over for us, and it was like, man, we took all our hard-earned money, you know, sweat and tears. You know, I broke my back in this construction thing. And to throw it into what we felt was our, you know, our dream, our generational wealth that we're building, we almost lost it, you know, so.
You know what, I'll piggyback off that too, see, I'm in the country, but so real quick about me, guys, I'm gonna give you my my quick resume, but That's powerful because we're going to dive deeper into, again, some of the pitfalls and some of the struggles we have had because on the outside looking in, it looks like we get money.
Right.
It looks like we get money. So if you're a business owner in a house, I'm sure you know what it looks like and really what it's like.
Right.
For the people who are not in business right now, looking to get in business, all that glitter ain't gold.
Right.
All right, but real quick, my story is, quickly, hopefully 30 seconds to a minute. Back in 1988, I got into a scuffle back in school, and after the scuffle was over, the cops came and looked for me. And when they found me, I had marijuana on me. And my grades wasn't through the roof, but I was passing my grades. I did okay in college. But I had a strict Panamanian mom, and she was home counting on her baby, finish school and come back home. Then she gets a call that I'm in jail. So I got for fighting and then possession of marijuana. And the funny thing is, when they brought me out of my dorm room and they had the marijuana in a Ziploc bag, maybe they didn't do it, but it seemed like they held the bag up high. So all the people in my school could see this guy's, he's no good, blah, this, that, and the third. I thought my life was done. And my mom got that call, she flew up, and she had to borrow money to fly up to see me in school, got me out. And I'm like, what, 18, 19 years old at the time? She said, my mother said, if nobody was here right now, I would beat your butt. You got me taking up work to go put you out of jail.
Right.
Fast forward then, I thought, everything was over, but I had a great lawyer. I stayed in school. And here's the caveat with this, everybody. For those who are students, any kids you have, mentees, nieces, nephews, what saved me that day back in 1998 was my grades. The judge said it to my lawyer.
Absolutely
If
right.
your grades were not good, you'll be out of here. So I tell all my little mentees, they went to the records and saw what I was doing in school. Stayed in school, graduated, came home, worked. For those who know me, worked for 20, 30 years, started a few businesses, got into real estate, got into mentoring. And then all of a sudden you hear back in 2020 around COVID, they're gonna legalize cannabis in New York State. I was like, whoa. And one of my boys was like, yo, Ted, blah, blah, blah. Some of the first people who's gonna be awarded their licenses of those who were impacted. That's the word they use, impacted.
Impacted. Yeah.
Now I've heard the word impacted before, but explain impacted. Arrested, motherfucker.
Right.
So when I realized I was on a list, I was actually with a group of guys who were looking to form a cannabis company and going back and forth. Long story short, my lawyer, who I knew for a good amount of time, says, Ted, you might want to consider a new group of guys. And I considered a new group of guys, left that team, started over this team, took that lawyer, retained him, and that's how I got my license, because when you apply for your license here in New York, probably anywhere in the country, you ever guys ever fill out an application for like going to college or an exam or law school? That's like the same, the application process.
I think worse than that.
It's crazy.
It's the craziest I've ever
So
done.
we go through all that back and forth. They won't call you, it's all email. So you get through that phase, and then you get assigned somebody to help you finalize the process. And when I got it, I was still like, am I gonna get it? They was like, nah, Ted, you're good. And when I saw that announcement, I think it was it early 2022, it was a video Zoom call, and I saw my name scroll up on the screen.
They didn't call you?
They didn't call. But they sent the email out.
Yeah.
Sent
They
the email,
called me.
and then they called you?
They called me. The thing was that I had a case going.
At the time?
Yeah, I had got caught with like 15 pounds of weed. So they was like, what's going on with that case?
Well, that's why they called
And
you.
they called me, they was like, what's going on with
Right.
that case? I was like, it's just possession. He was like, it's only possession? I was like, yeah. He was like, all right, it's only possession, then what's going on with the case? I was like, they're about to give me a community service. I was like, all right, so once that's done, give me a call back. And that's when I knew I got the license.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what I'm like, they calling me to see what's going on with my case.
Normally you wouldn't get a call back if they, yeah,
Right,
right, yeah.
Yeah,
right,
so
right.
they called me and it was like, what's going on with the case? Like, once the case is over, basically, you're about to get your license.
That's crazy.
But you have to get that case done and over. As long as it was a possession, it was not a sale,
Okay.
it was good.
See, that's powerful right there too, because
Yeah.
if you think about
they
it,
knew what I was doing.
Yeah, and think about it. And just for people who don't know this,
Yeah.
like everybody up here, Ray's probably just divulging more of what he's done, but we all did our dirt. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to paint no pretty picture about me and my background, and I don't think any of us is going to do that. But we all got caught in some madness. It's just more so about when you get caught with madness, in this case, possession of marijuana, or whatever you did in marijuana, we're so used to keeping it under wraps because we don't want to snitch on ourselves, you know what I'm saying? But the cool thing is when you forthcoming with the information and they're going to award the people, again, who are impacted. That was kind of weird, but it was cool at the same time. So when I saw my name scroll on that list, and my lawyer called me, I'm sitting home, and my girl she's in the kitchen cooking. I'm like, but that was the beginning of the hard work. So from that moment, build up my team, built out the dispensary. And real quick, guys, I got a documentary coming out about the building of By Any Other Name, which is the dispensary owner here. Because we can't just sell cannabis products. We can't just talk about our stories. We got to build a community.
Right.
And that's why I'm doing this. Community meaning, Ray, what do you need? Keyshawn, what do you need? Yo, T, what you need, my brother? Because if I'm making sure, I'm not making sure, but being a part of how they're making money, being a partner in that, then we all gonna make money. It's so much bread to go around.
That's right.
It is a lot of bread to go around. So it'd behoove me to be like, yo, Ray, I got this new product in my store. You might want to check it out. Yo, Key, you got this point of sale system? Mine's just cool. Who using, Keyshawn? Yo, T, peek it. I know you got the little things in your little lounge area. I might piggyback off for that. So we are not necessarily forced, but it's in our best interest to be community driven.
Right.
Powerful, guys, which is new. A lot of times we're selfish when we do our own little businesses, but that's real quick. What I would do now, guys, is let's jump into the, some of us may have answered it, but when it comes to the inspiration, you talked about legacy, and Ray, you talked a little bit about your history, whatever. Keyshawn talked about how many stores you got going on, but what was the one or two things that really inspired you to want to do this? Because knowing it's going to be tough. What was like one or two things that inspired you? If you
I mean, what inspired me, doing it illegal and getting locked up, and that's, seeing other states like California doing it legally, and like we going to jail for it and they over there just laughing at us. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that is, like, I don't want to, like, I want to do this, but I don't want to go to jail for it. You know what I mean? So I slowed down, and once the license came, it was like I had to apply right away. But my partner, she's the one that really taught me about the whole industry, because she's the one that put me to go for it. I didn't even know about it. I was so into the streets that I didn't even know it was coming up. So she was like, hey, let's go half and half. Let's I'll do everything. I'll get the money. And you just got to put up your name, and like, fuck it, let's do it.
It's dope.
I didn't know about it, to be honest with you. I was so busy into the streets hustling, still doing my little thing. Don't get me wrong, I have my little businesses and, doing the right thing, but, going legit was what I really wanted to do.
Do you mind divulging? Who's your partner? What's your partner's name? Can you say?
Christina
I met her before.
Giovanni.
And she's from the West Coast, right?
She's from the West Coast. She's been here like 6-7 years already, maybe more. She has a magazine called the Emerald magazine. So when I met her, it's a coinky dinky. Like when I met her at a expo at Jacob Chavez, like about 5 years ago, my wife bought me a ticket. So when I got down by myself, I'm going to a yacht party. She didn't have a ticket. I got her in. But once I got her in, we were just mingling. Like about 2 days later, I see her at my block in Bushwick, born and raised. I see her at my block. So I'm like, what the fuck you doing here? She was like, what are you doing? I was like, I was born and raised here all my life. Like, what are you doing? She was like, I live right here. And I was like, wow.
That's crazy.
So and then I became selling weed to her. She became a customer. So now I'm selling weed to her.
Came your custody.
Now I'm selling weed to her, blah, 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 blah. So, she was like, listen, let's, this is coming up. I will do it for you. I already have my barbershop going. excuse me. So she was like, let's do it. I'll apply for it. I'll get everything done. You know, get the investors, which she did. So at that time, once they gave us the license, she was like, "Hey, why you think about calling it the Emerald Dispensary?" Mind you, she has a magazine called the Emerald Magazine, right?
Yeah, the medios.
No,
man.
but it gets weirder. You know, besides that, I saw her on my block. So basically, my granddaughter's name is Emerald. So it became weird as fuck.
Ain't nothing weird
So I
about
was
that.
like,
brother.
my
That's
granddaughter's
God's
already
work.
3. But she said that my granddaughter's already 2 years old. So it wasn't like, all right, I'm gonna name my granddaughter Emerald. No, she was already 3 years old, which she's about to be 5. And it was like a no-brainer. I was like, of course, my granddaughter's name is Emerald. The magazine is Emerald. Let's just do it. And everything just, played its part.
What's that term, guys? What's the term? Serendipity is one. That's one. There's another one too. Huh? Alignment.
I call it Kawinky Dinky.
Divine intervention. Divine intervention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
It's meant to be.
Bingo. So that's beautiful. So
Yeah, it was crazy.
I love that. So, Keith, any similar inspirational stories around that, or
Nah,
being in the business?
nah. So I'm from Harlem, so I'm.
You're like, yeah,
You know
man.
what I mean? It was more so, cannabis being around me for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Being a consumer, growing up as teenager, getting older, and then starting to have a money making mentality later on in life, trying to find a way to make some money. I started following the legalization of cannabis from way back. You know what I'm saying? At the time, early 2000, I used to mess with a girl who was from Oakland. So I go to California all the time. And then I don't know if anybody knows about it, but back like years ago, Oakland was still, real bad.
That's
you know
like
what I'm saying?
80s.
Yeah, Oakland was still real
Still
bad.
now.
And there was no economy that was turning it around, but there was a group of people created something called Oakland University, which was like a school to teach people how to create cannabis business back then. So I caught that. I saw them. I got one of them way back then. So I was like, oh shit. So I started going. When I would go to California, I would go check the spot out. I couldn't take the classes because I was here on the East Coast. So all I could do was just go over there, talk to people, boom, boom, boom. But that just started my mind watching shit, right? Fast forward years later, I ended up going to Amsterdam for the first time. And just the whole environment and the culture around cannabis was like, crazy friendly, and it was welcoming. It was the first time I went to a restaurant, I go in, I see a normal sign, no smoke cigarette sign. But I smell mad weed. So I'm like, hold on. Some man added up, you know what I'm saying? So I went to there was a dude on all black, he was secure. I'm like, yo, it says no smoke, but I smell all shit all over the place. I'm good or what? He was like, you can't smoke cigarettes in here, but you can smoke weed in here. I was like, say word, you know what I'm saying? So now just moving around and everybody's cool with it, I'm like, yo, Amsterdam, this is what New York could be at its best, you know what I'm saying? So that was a little moment right then. Then fast forward to like, in the mid 2000s, I started going to Colorado after they was one of the first states to go recreational. And I was like, all right, as soon as I get in there, first thing I do before I go anywhere, I gotta check one of the dispensaries. Found a spot called the Denver Dispensary. All it was a little trailer on the side road of a major road. Nondescript, nothing fancy, no nothing, just a little trailer joint. I go up in there, and they had 2 sections. Your first section was medical, so if you were from the state, you got a medical card, you go to that section, that area. And then the other side was recreational. The difference is the prices. Medical people, they get better prices. All the bud is the same. You just call it medicine, you call it bud. It's the same shit, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what caught me was on the wall, they had all of their permits that they had to have, how often the permits had to be renewed, and how much they cost. So I'm starting doing quick math in my mind. I'm like, yo, they running cash up in here because one is not federally legal, so they just doing nothing but cash. And I'm like, the amount of money they got to make just to pay the permits, nothing else. I'm like, they get money. So my mind's like, all right, I got to figure this shit out. And from that point, I just started following throughout the country all the legalization. Then once they announced Massachusetts to be the first state on the East Coast to go recreational, I tuned into Massachusetts, and then they started having every Wednesday at the city government who was trying to create their cannabis commission, they would have a meeting on Wednesday. Every Wednesday, I would drive up in the morning, sitting there all day long, listen to all what was happening, and come back. I did that shit for a whole year. Boom, 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 boom. And that just kind of like took me down the road to once they opened up and meeting some opportunity, just staying on the track. I was able to open with my two partners, my first spot in Holyoke. As soon as they released COVID restrictions, bang, we opened up.
So
We went from
you
there.
were prepared. You
I was on it, man. So it was like over 10, 12 years of me just following to see what's going on. And then just, things lined up, right place at right time, and shit worked out for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's dope. Because what's coming to mind for me is just like Ray just seemed like he had a guardian angel, Christina, AKA Christina. Like somebody who just really, they knew what was going on, they saw what was coming. And then God put him in a position where he just said, hey, Ray, I'm gonna have you do something for this girl. You're gonna be there again.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna connect and look at her. No, how do you hook up like that with a stranger?
It was crazy.
Right?
I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I don't even believe my story. Yeah, for real. It's like how she's on my block, and then the Emerald magazine, and then the way it ended is like my granddaughter name is Emerald. It still freaks me out. I swear to God.
Those are the signs. You got to follow those signs.
Yeah, man. And
It's
this is,
weird.
see, we're talking about cannabis here, guys, but this is also a lesson about what's for you. That's how I look at it.
Right.
Like what's for you? You'd be surprised. Like I was talking to someone just the other day. We talked about God has a tendency to put you in front of things that He wants you to take advantage of. And the story about the guy with the flood, and he was in his house on the boat, and he sent him a helicopter and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't see the signs of the people who's going to come to save us and help us.
Ignore the signs.
We keep saying things like, that's not for us. I'm not into this. I'm not into that. So I think, again, guardian angel on your side, with that girl, you dating that girl out in Oakland, you thought that's probably what it's about, but it puts you in a position to see action on that side over there. And then the funny thing about Tony and I is, I see the dispensary open up across my restaurant in Harlem. I was like, where'd that come from? So, of course, I want to find out who it is. We start kicking it. He goes, yo, I follow you on Instagram.
Yeah.
I like your posts. I like what you're doing in cannabis. That was a no-brainer. He showed me his space, and that's how it goes down. So just this whole connection is fire. But you may have alluded to it, T, but if you don't mind, just like what was your number one or one or two inspirations that really got you started, T, to embark upon this journey?
Well, I'm gonna go. So it's funny because my journey is similar to that, right? It's like I've always followed the signs. So I had a similar Amsterdam situation. This was in the '90s. I used to manage a rap group, Digging in the Crates. They was old school.
I remember the name. Yeah.
Big L, OC, Law Finesse, Diamond D. It was just Diamond D's birthday the other day. Show and AG, which were my best friends, and Fat Joe, which Fat Joe happens to be part of my team with the dispensary. His part, so Rich, my partner Rich, is his manager. So I know Joe for years, So we have that history, right? We in Amsterdam, and we actually, we like, yo, this shit is crazy. This is in the '90s, and we asked the cop. We just playing Big L. Asked the cop, yo, man, where we can get some weed at, man? And they just told us where we get it. We just started laughing, like, this is crazy. This is in the '90s. Yeah, it's in the '90s. And like you said, you just smell weed everywhere. So that experience was something different, right? And I didn't, that was the first spark of, damn, this, I can't, will this ever get to the United States, right? But then I'm at this time, now in my life, I was in film, I had a film distribution company. I was doing like gangster documentaries. I'm sure some of you have probably seen some of them. This was in the 2000s, right? Then I became one of the top urban distributors in the nation. And this is what I was doing. I was doing the DVD thing. 2008 happened. This is the recession. DVD sales, that wiped out that business. I went into gold and diamonds in Africa. And then I remember, doing these deals. I've been doing deals like, 300,000-400,000. I'm thinking I'm the shit. A football player friend of mine takes me to the hotel. He said, I'm gonna put you to the right dude. He takes me to this dude, Lebanese dude, that owns the hotel. He shows me some diamonds, and I'm like, yeah, I want it. What's good? Let's do business. He said, all right, how much money are you spending? I said, I got about 400,000 here. He said, you're not ready. He said, that's 3 million you're looking at right there. So I went back with my tail between my ass, and, on that plane. And I'm on that plane, my partner, he's like, what's up, what you think about? I said, we're gonna sell some fucking weed, is what we're gonna do. I had the distribution channel, so I already know what was happening in Cali. I had friends in Cali, and when I went out there and I saw what was happening, I'm like, yo, what's happening? What I envisioned from Amsterdam is happening here. This shit is gonna happen in New York soon. So we get caught up in the weed. We doing numbers, and from Cali, New York, and then I caught a case. I caught a case. I don't want to get too much into the case, right? It was like a stupid case.
No
But
snitching.
who,
No
I,
snitching.
but who I caught the case with, it was because I lost a large amount of money on the West Coast and I wasn't planning to go back there no more. And so they told me, you don't never have to go back there. We know about the money you lost. You be right here in New York. This is what you're gonna have. And I took that, I jumped on the highway. They pulled me over and they found that little sample of weed, and that's how I got this license.
Wow.
You know, so
All the big shit you
yeah,
did.
all the big shit I did. Let me tell you, this was $1 million shit. But you know, I got caught with that. I was pissed off, and they made me because they felt like they was on or something. Who them guys you just met and this that? And I'm like, well, what guys? What are you talking about? I just dropped my boy off at the gym. I'm downtown and you know in Midtown. And so they were so pissed off because they feel they missed the big thing that they made me, you know how they usually give you you know, like a fine. They gave me a court appearance ticket for it. So yeah, motherfuckers gonna make me go to court for this? So I had to go to court for that, but that saved me. Like that gave me this, you know?
You copped out the ACD or something?
Huh?
ACD or something? You copped out?
Yeah, I just took the it was a violation.
A violation.
It was a violation. I paid a fine, but I totally forgot about it until we start digging. My partner Rich, was Fat Joe's manager. He's like, yo, Tone, I gotta weigh in. We're gonna be one of the first to get the license. I said, well, let's go. He said, you got that weed joint? I was like, yeah, I got a few weed joints, I'm sure. So I remember at least two. So I said, we just hire a private investigator and find it. So that's how we end up finding that. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know it was that. Like I was back in '98. This shit happened in 2010. So I was like, okay, that's a blessing. So I would say my biggest inspiration would be my granddaughter. You know, my granddaughter, like her coming in and it's like, you know what? This is what I was talking about, the Italians with the restaurant. You know, I want to be that legacy within my family that, you know, my kids is like, yo, yeah, this business that we running, my dad did this and he put this together, held it down, and I want them to tell all of my shit, all of the street shit, how the street shit got me. Like I literally told my kids, my kids don't know my past life, right? I grew my kids up in Westchester County, you know, and they swear they're from the Bronx, but they don't know shit about the Bronx. And you know, when I told her that story, their mouth just dropped like, Dad, what do you mean you're around what you're doing these type of deals with guns and this and that? That sounds like power or something. I'm like, power ain't shit. I ain't seen nothing. So I would say that, man. I mean, I could go on. Me and Fat Joe tell stories because Fat Joe, you know, we grew up together, same hood. And I said, yo, man, you got to chill with your stories because, yo, it's not believable to a lot of these kids. Like, yo, we lived a life that sounds crazy. So some of the shit you got to kind of, you know, say, you know what? It was crazy. We lived a crazy life, but we blessed to be like, I mean, for us, it's actually crazy that we're living the lives that we're living. It's like, you know, to be able to be in our 50s, like, yo, man, and being blessed.
What's crazy what Tone saying, y'all, is here's the beautiful thing. You know, my first encounter with weed wasn't even in high school. I ran track in high school, got to college. I played a few sports in college, but then, you know, you smoke that one joint, and you're like, yo, this is pretty cool, right?
Right.
And then in college, either you a customer or you're a seller, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you get exposed to it that way. But I've always been on the athletic side of things. So what I realized was, and I like how you guys talked about your mishaps, but if you guys haven't realized, the war on drugs was a picture that was painted to make people who look like us wrong for indulging in a plant that's actually healthy. I'm sure we got grandmothers and great-great-grandmothers or our parents who think that these products in this store right now here today is the devil's work. It's the devil's work. And I believed them because I didn't know. But as the war on drugs kind of fizzled out and they started to really talk about some of the early research of cannabis, me being a runner, I'm an exercise guy. I'm not a smoker per se. It's never really been my thing too much. When I saw all the healthy benefits for cannabis, it blew my mind. That became my inspiration. I said the health and wellness community is not aware of how powerful this plant is. Everyone thinks it's the devil's work. It's about getting high. People who smoke are bums, they're rappers, they do this, they do that, they steal, they rob. Nah, since I've opened up this dispensary, man, I see so many people in the yoga space walk through those doors. Marathon runners.
That's right.
Gym rats. And they're telling me why they use the cannabis plant. So my mind is like kaboom.
That's right.
And then so I've used a couple of CBD products mixed with THC to do some of my runs. And I couldn't slow down. So it doesn't make sense to my mind to say that cannabis actually gives me energy. I've never heard of that before. So I'm glad that I can be hopefully one of, if not the poster child for the health and wellness of cannabis. And then my last but not least inspiration is my grandson was born right around the time when I got my license. And then me and my lawyers talking about what are we going to name the dispensary and how fitting. You talked about Emerald? I was like Xander. That's my grandson. So it's just so beautiful how I'm looking at one piece of it, health and wellness, but now this beautiful child comes into the world. I don't have a son, so my daughter gives birth to a son. That's the son I never had. So I named my dispensary after my and I asked my daughter and the husband, I said, is it okay? So they was like, no, that's fine, that's fine. So it's just beautiful, it's serendipitous, to look at something one way, but then it turns another way. You just gotta stay the course and stay in it. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I hope when you guys leave here today, not only just our stories, but some of the nuggets that we're sharing in between the stories can really resonate with you all because people are misinformed. They don't know what's going on. And I went up to Geneva, New York. Cornell University has a farm with scientists and farmers that specialize in cannabis. Like Ivy League school has a farm, and they were getting down and dirty. And that just confirmed I was in the right space doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's phenomenal. So we're gonna this is what we're gonna do. You can see we got.
Can I get like a 2-minute bathroom session?
Bathroom break? Yeah.
Definitely gotta use the restroom.
This is the conversation. So what we're gonna do now, guys, is we got 8 million stories. So if we go through any more stories, y'all gonna be like, yo, I was planning on being here this long. So we're gonna do a Q&A session right now. Allow you guys to ask questions to all of us, anyone in particular, and let it out. Let it out. Don't sit back and be careful. This is all the gloves is off. We ain't gonna snitch on ourselves. We'll give you as much as we can possibly give you. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you do have a question, we ask that you come step into the frame so you can be part of our recording. So my question is, there's a lot of people here that are interested in working with dispensary owners or getting a part of this business. Is it too late for them as far as that? Or I guess my question is how would you encourage a young entrepreneur who maybe doesn't have the legacy background, but wants to be a part of this industry, wants to be a part of the movement? What advice would you give to anyone like that?
No, I mean, I would definitely. I'm probably the least experienced in here, right? So I'll start first before you start going. But I would say it blew my mind how what the opportunities in this, not just owning this, we start bud tenders at $18 an hour, but most are getting them average, 18, 19, 20. Managers are at 65,000 a year. So it's I'm like, yo, man, this is really a good career move for a lot of people, especially, you know, because we look for a lot of that young energy, right? And the younger generation, super knowledgeable with, you know, this information they get from these phones now and how they, you know, the way they spit it back out is admirable to me, right? So I always, you know, I always want to encourage them and give them that educational piece to just inform them of how they can make a career in this, you know. So yeah, I would say that from that aspect, from my experience.
You know, when it gets more and more experience from this, so you and me, because as we go, we're going to show who opened up, who's been opening longest, probably got a little bit more to share.
I missed the question.
Yeah, I'll reiterate the question. She said, any advice for someone who may want to get in the cannabis business, whether it be against any capacity, maybe ownership, working, whatever the case may be. He answered that piece. What I would say for somebody who wants to get involved in cannabis, I'm going to tell you right now, learn as much as you can. There's a lot of free trainings out there. I think Workforce, I forgot it's called Workforce something.
Yeah.
There's like a 15 module cannabis online training. You do it at your own pace. And it gives you a lot of detailed information about cannabis, the plant, how it works, the different facets of it. So I actually went through it because I can't be hiring folks in the dispensary and not have an idea of how it all works and all the specifics of terpenes, CBD and all that. I would say get the online training. There's a lot of free ones. I know Mega Evis has a class, BMCC has a class. Some you might have to pay for, a lot is free. That would be number one. Number two.
Housing Works has like a bud tender class, yeah.
So Housing Works has one. That's another one of the dispensaries too. And then what I would say is I'm just big on, in life for me, I love mentors. I am a mentor, and I tell people you should always get a mentor. So these brothers right here are mentors in the game for me. They opened before I did, so why would I try to recreate the wheel? You know, find out from them what they did, and then they'll tell me what not to do. I'll avoid that. They give me the cheat sheet. I get around it and open up sooner. So get a mentor in the game. My lawyer was my mentor, and then these brothers right here. That's my advice, you know, being a 5-month-old dispensary owner. Ray and then Keyshawn. What's the advice?
Best advice? I mean, it's not what it seems. Like, think you're gonna open up a dispensary, you're gonna get rich right away. Hell no. Hell no. That's definitely not how it works. Mostly like the first dispensary that was open, the first dispensaries that open, usually the ones who make the most money at the beginning. They'll get it, and the great locations. Great location, it means everything. Everything. So my advice is, if you really want to get into marijuana, like, don't expect to get rich fast. You know, learn and get ready for the hiccups.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I would say the perception that if you're not in right now, you missed out is false and fake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The
That
cannabis industry in New York is just growing. It's only been legal for 2, maybe 3 years now in New York. There's so many things besides that prop up an industry, period, you know what I'm saying, that you can get into whether you want to work. If you're trying to think about getting on the employee side, but you have no idea about the business of cannabis, there are a lot of free resources like these gentlemen mentioned, Mega Evers, so many different schools, SUNY state schools that have free cannabis programs. And if you go on the OCM, they also have a wealth of resources that these organizations are giving out free lessons and courses to teach you everything you need to know about entering into the cannabis space. And I would say that's going to give you a leg up from somebody just walking into the door, because you're coming in with knowledge. And as somebody trying to hire, for a good workforce, you want to try to hire your best person possible, so that way you're not spending a bunch of money rehiring, training. So if you come in with a baseline, it makes it easier, more attractive for you to be hired by somebody. But that's on that side. Like I said, the industry itself is still growing. It's infantile, it's real young. So if you got a hustler's mentality, you can figure out what you're good at, set yourself up appropriately now, and then go in and advertise yourself to the industry. You know what I'm saying? Look what we got going on here. We have sisters who are moderating, this panel. We have cameramen. We have lights. This stuff costs. You know what I'm saying? So if you're the one if you're a good photographer, people want to tell stories. You know what I'm saying? You got people who, dispensary owners who are brand new in the game, who want to get their story out and tell it. You might be able to be the person to narrate their story. So there's so many things you can do and you can get into in the cannabis industry Now, if you do deliveries, you know what I'm saying? Think about stuff like that. There's a lot that you get into that it may not necessarily mean working in the store or having a dispensary. If you can, that's great. Jump into it, you know what I'm saying? But don't think that if you're not in right now, that's it, you missed a boat or you're pigeonholed only to having the storefront, because there's so many other things that have to take place, so many things that we have to rely on, you know what I'm saying, to open a business. Like, for instance, a bank. It might sound far-fetched that we can open a bank, but why can't we open a bank? You get a group of people together and somebody start putting their minds together to figure out what it takes to open a bank to be able to distribute funds for cannabis, because cannabis is still not federally legal.
Right.
So there's only a handful of banks that we can really operate with. You know what I'm saying? So what's to stop all the odds from sitting together right now? So let's put our mind, our heads, and our money together, create a bank that's only going to operate in the cannabis space in New York. Boom, you just started a new business. So it takes, you can think as crazy as that, or you can be as real simplistic as, not simplistic, but you can think about what you're good at and figure out how to align that with the cannabis industry. If you're still not sure, look at any other industry from any other state that's already been legal for a bunch of years and see what businesses that people have that work with the cannabis industry. You know what I'm saying? It's like the NBA or NFL, but so many people would be the player on the court or on the field. But there's a whole world of things behind the scene that you don't see that have to be in play, and people are having jobs and businesses to make these industries work. The cannabis industry is no different. It's just brand new right now. So you got a lot of time to figure out who you are, what you got, the resources you have at your hand, the people around you to put something together to make a business and grow it from there.
You guys see how that worked out? That was crazy. Like boom, 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 and see how you ended that. That's phenomenal. But we go to the next question. Thanks, Keith. Good shit, Ray.
Hi guys again.
Hey, Jazz.
I have a quick question. It's actually on the point you mentioned before about the war on drugs and how it's basically stigmatized, like use of cannabis. And I kind of want to know, from the panelists, when we go into these communities and people who are hesitant to kind of talk or even kind of engage in this discourse, how can we handle or how can we go into these spaces and kind of destigmatize the use of cannabis? How can I go to my grandmother and tell her, hey, no, this is actually not that bad. This actually has a lot of health benefits. There's a lot of, good things that, go towards this. It's not a gateway drug. It doesn't make you lazier. How can I kind of talk to them about this, in my community?
Well, my aunts, they older ladies, in their 60s, 70s, they was really on that. I'm not taking that. That's taking drugs, and I'm not doing that. That's taking drugs. I'm not taking no drugs. Mostly everything they saw was on TV, and now that it's getting more beneficial as for medical, they fuck it, let me try it. Fuck it, let me try it. 'Cause I be telling them, you be taking all these aspirins and shit for pain. Try fucking a gummy. So they took it, and one of my aunts was like, I know, I felt bloated. I felt bloated, but I didn't feel nothing. I had no pain. It felt better than, taking them aspirins and stuff. I felt like I was on air. And they actually like it now, and they don't have no side effects,
Wow. Great question. Awesome, Ray.
Yeah, some of what I'm noticing now is that there's so many options now. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to inhale it. There's the gummies, there's the oils. That's the introduction. I have a Uncle Willie Walker.
Everybody know Willie, yeah.
In Harlem. He says, I'll come by, but I ain't taking nothing. You're gonna have me take nothing. He's 80-something years old. And I said, listen, now I'm telling you, man, there's these oils that came in. I want you to try it. Oh, the oil, they take away pain? I said, yeah, they take away arthritis. Yeah, try the oil. I'll give you the oil, you try it, so it's, educating them on it and introducing them other options. So
That's dope. You know what? One of the coolest things for me, my neighbor came to me recently and said that their son is now indulging in cannabis. And my neighbor, very well, him and his wife, very well put together. They do really well, and the kid is the bomb. Their kid is the bomb. He's amazing. But all I said was, I'm not here to act like I can solve every problem or answer every question. But what I love doing is having conversations. Like a woman in my church came up to me. She's like, what kind of business are you opening up in Clinton Hill? And, the 5 year ago me was like, you can't tell us what you about to do. You go to church with her. But the today's me is like, because I'm so well informed now, and I basically said, well, I'm opening a cannabis dispensary, and I said, but I go right into this. This is what I do with people. I go right into my purpose and my point for doing it. I says, I'm gonna destigmatize, and I'm gonna remove all the incorrect information from the people, at least that I know. I can't do it for the world, because what I thought cannabis was, it isn't.
Right.
So going back to my neighbor, I basically said, you know what? We need to find out from your son, why is he doing what he's doing, and what is his cannabis choice, and how does it make him feel? Because you don't want to go out there telling people, don't do something,
Right.
or this ain't good for you. Ask questions. So I love engaging in conversation. So long story short, my church friend, she basically told me she had arthritis. I says, well, I don't have arthritis, but I work out consistently, heavily. And I get stiff necks, aches, and pains, and I use this topical solution. And it's THC and CBD. There's some with just CBD alone, and I can't tell you I don't have no more pain. She said, I need some of that. She goes, because this arthritis is killing me. You know, so it's funny how, you know, Ray, you said your story with your aunt. It's like the war on drugs really, it painted that broad brush of negativity.
Right.
So sometimes you just don't go to telling people, don't be a cannabis expert, but have a conversation. Find out what they heard, what they feel, what they believe cannabis is, then share your experience or someone else's experience.
Right.
And that's what I did, and that's what I do. And more often than not, people are at least willing to try. That's it.
That's right.
That's it. Great question.
You can just come right here, she can get another turn.
If we gotta get you on camera, bro.
I want to say first, congratulations to all you brothers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kay.
So I wasn't here early on, so I don't know who was actually awarded the license. Did you guys-
All four of us. All
of
four.
us, yeah.
All four?
Yeah.
So I wanted to know, like, out of the license that was awarded, what are like the percentage of licenses that were, like, what's the demographics of license that was awarded to Black African American? That's very important to me because I grew up in Coney Island, one of the worst hoods ever. And me personally, like, I was impacted, you know, so it's like, I couldn't go into deli smoking marijuana. I couldn't, you know, we couldn't be on the corner smoking marijuana in these Yemen men's shops. But it seems like the bulk of them have a license to, you know, running these dispensaries and operating illicit stores, and we're still, we got the short end of the stick.
That's right.
So I want to know, like, what are the percentages of license that was awarded to Black Americans? Also, have you guys partnered with any Black Americans? That's just.
You guys wanna rock first? Anything?
Yeah, so what I would say is there's a misconception. You had mentioned the Yemeni stores. Those most times, 9 times out of 10, are not licensed.
Yeah, those are the ones.
Those are the ones you're right. She right.
Those are the ones that got shut down.
Right. A lot of them. So those are not legal, right? And so that was a large confusion early on when the licenses first started to roll out. People couldn't determine what was a legal dispensary and what wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, where I'm from, you know what I'm saying, in Harlem, even growing up before it was any legalization, when I was buying off the streets, I wasn't buying it from Yemeni people. You know what I'm saying? I was buying it from my homeboy.
Right.
So that right there should already tell you, you know, about what those stores have. You know what I'm saying? And my point to saying that is, growing up, if I bought it from my homeboy, I know I'm gonna see my homeboy every day. I know my homeboy is smoking with me, so I can trust what I'm getting from my homeboy. You don't know what's coming from those Yemeni stores. You know what I'm saying? And then, so when the license first came out, it was conditions called the card license. That's what the first license that came out for people like they said, like us, who had come from impacted communities that were impacted in one way or another from the war on drugs and, you know, and overreach of police, the police work. So thankfully, the way New York did it in their best attempt to rolling out early, the majority of the card licenses that came out were from people from our communities like us. Black American, you know what I'm saying? Brothers up here, you know, Black and Latino Americans. So you're looking at a large percentage of the car license that came out right here. Yeah. They couldn't just, you know, isolate just us, but they definitely tried to go about the best way to target our communities who are unfairly impacted by the war on drugs. So there's a large amount of us that if you go online to the OCM, the Office of Cannabis Management, they have a list of all the dispensaries, legal ones.
Yeah, I think it's 400. Like about,
Mostly
about
all
400.
cards are
like
people.
three- I think
Mostly
three-
all
three-
cards are
340
people that have been in jail for marijuana, whether it's a nickel bag or
So
200 pounds. But not what happened was a lot like which happened to me. I didn't know, and I'm born and raised Brooklyn in the hood, still hustling in the street. I didn't know about none of this license shit, and that's what happened with a lot of minorities and a lot of where we so into the streets and we're not paying attention to the bigger picture. And by the time we did find out, it was already too late. They gave out all the licenses already. A lot of times that's what happened to the minorities because a lot of people qualified for it, a lot, because mostly everybody got locked up for weed. Everybody. I mean, I got my license. I could have eaty, meeny, miny, mo, the motherfucker, how many times I got locked up for weed. I mean, but the one that I picked was like the one they ran up in my crib and they found another 18 pounds of weed unlawful, and I just picked that one. I was like, fuck it, let me pick the biggest one. I'll be honest. Let me pick the biggest one, and that's me. That was the problem. Not everybody, because like I said, when I got with Christina, she told me, like, yo, I'm gonna help you get your license. You've been like I did. She was like, you've been arrested before for marijuana. I was like, who didn't?
Right.
You know. So she was like, all right, about my bonds. She's like, this is God. I do everything. You don't gotta do nothing. You know, not everybody had the opportunity that I got. You know what I mean? But mostly everybody in this probably room qualified for this shit. Because who didn't get locked
Either that
up?
or-
You never got locked up for weed? And you fucked up then. We all got, everybody here got locked up for. Shit, you was one of the dudes that swallowed that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already see. I already know. You was one of the dudes be like,
Yeah,
they
based
was
on the
motherfuckers- I ain't
criteria,
getting
he
caught.
don't
They was
qualify.
just swallow it. I'd be like, fuck that shit. I ain't putting that shit in my. I ain't swallowing that shit. And a lot of people was doing that. They would be like, oh, there go the cops. Sometimes that was motherfuckers doing that on purpose. The cops wasn't even around. They was just swallowing them. For real.
Having weed babies out there.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I was like, what the fuck is the cops? Motherfuckers just like swallowing the weed.
Right.
We know what's interesting about your question, bro. I sent an email to the State Department that kind of regulates. It's called Office of Cannabis Management. And what I wanted to know was how many. I said minorities, or did I say black? I must have said minorities or black. But how many minority licensed dispensaries are there? I never got an answer back. So I just wanted to know exactly what that number was, because in the beginning, it was more so for people, black and brown people, you know, who were caught with charges for marijuana. But then there's something called an injunction. There's other people who are deemed as a minority, and they feel like they're being kind of X'd out, like they
Right.
can't. They're a minority and they got marijuana violations or convictions, and then they just kept coming left and right. So you got so you don't have to be a black or minority by color. You can be a woman. They started doing with
Veterans.
veterans. So then the minority scope became really broad in that sense, and it held up a lot of the certain situations. But the funny thing is, when I talk to people, it's like, yo, man, I got arrested. Yo, I could have got my license. Here's what they did also. You couldn't have just gotten arrested.
Right.
Back in the day, they said, what have you done since you got arrested?
Right.
And you had to prove it on your tax returns. What businesses have you started successfully?
Successfully.
Because they don't want you
Forgot
to
about
open a
that one.
dispensary because you have a conviction and now you're doing a few illegal businesses and you ain't showing it on your tax returns. So it shows like you got arrested, but you did nothing. So you had
Right.
to
So
submit
now
all
it
of that.
narrows down.
It narrowed it. Yeah, that took a lot.
Yeah.
So like, I had two parts of the question, so I should have actually led with I do have my licenses.
Okay.
I have my license. I have a business. I bust my ass. Work extremely hard. You get what I'm saying? I had a restaurant for 4 years that I single-handedly ran myself. You know, not dirty money, busting tables, waiting tables, bartending for years. And I got my license. I closed my business down when I found out I got my license because OCM promised us tons of things.
Right.
You know, as core licensees, they promised us tons of things, but the market, it became really nasty because of the injunction you speak about. became nasty, and it left this in where it's like now you have investors. We don't have the money. They know these guys don't have this money like that to fund their business. We gonna give them anything. Y'all take pennies. We coming with the money. So it's like it left us in this dry spot. So that goes back to the first part of the question that I was asking, because I do see a lot of young men who claim they're licensed and they're still operating illegally. See a lot of them, and I come across them as potential investors, and they try to take the majority of our license, give us pennies. Like I lost my business for this, because I'm like, damn, my restaurant, it wasn't doing that great, you know what I'm saying? It's my first business. It's not doing that great. I'm gonna let this go. I got a cannabis license in the beginning. They was offering us the word, so it's like, yeah, so that's my reason of asking, like, what I don't know. I don't know, like, the percentage. I know the licensees that I came across, none of them look like me, probably 2 or 3,
Yeah, people they found loopholes. They found a lot of loopholes.
So what's the holdup? What's the holdup with you opening up?
I work too hard to give somebody the majority of my license. I'd rather lose my license. Unfortunately, it's like I'd rather just lose it.
Are you a card?
Of course, an investor.
Are you a card license?
Your card? So you could only sell 49%. You know that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, I don't know what the deals are, but you could only sell 49%. So I mean, that 49%, if you are getting an investor, that 49% should pay for everything to build out.
Right.
They got whoever you sell that 49%, they got to pay for everything, build out, and depending on your location, if you got a great location, they got to give you money too.
Right. So what would you evaluate the license?
I would evaluate the license. Do you have a location?
I have several locations. I'm also.
No, you need a location. So you only have one license. So you need one location, and you need it to get proximity protection. Yes.
Proximity protection at one location, but ever since they changed zoning requirements, we decided to, branch off to other, because we were originally placed in the Bronx. So I have proximity for a location in the Bronx, because nobody wanted to touch it. There's a lot of illegal stores out there. So, yeah, I do real estate. I'm a real estate agent as well. So I have access to other locations that meet proximity, zoning requirements. It's just a matter of
Do you have investors?
I have potential investors.
Potential.
The deals is just hard.
Okay. I mean,
You know what I would say, honestly? I mean, I don't know if we should take the whole time up, answer your question.
right.
No. Here's the reason
Yeah, I
why.
mean,
We can sit down and really chop it up. That's
Yeah,
the point. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? It's from it. Let's sit down and really chop it up, and get more down and dirty as to what you're going through and what you need, because what you're going through, we all been through it.
Right.
We got through. We squeaked through the cracks. We made it through. So let's sit down and chop it up with you. And
Yeah, I'd
we
definitely like to
yeah.
get your number too.
Yeah.
So
What
we
can that?
talk
What
further.
can I get? So hang up. You can hang out. Yeah. Okay.
so you
No,
got
appreciate that,
possible investors right here.
Right.
Yeah, baby.
If that's what you want, you should have started
Right.
from the beginning.
I know, right? I know, right? Come on, man.
Let's
You ain't
go.
around the bush here, huh?
So,
Smart guy.
You want to see my fangs when it got watery for them?
right.
Okay, so we have one more question. I'm just gonna give a rundown, so then we're gonna basically pause for a second and give a chance for people to come and kind of ask questions like that.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have basically like 15 minutes to mingle while we do the raffle. We're giving out 4 massages.
Ooh, can I be in the
I need a massage that.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically, after this last question, we're gonna close up, but then we encourage people to stick around for the raffle, and then we just have some announcements at the end. We just want to shout out some things that are happening coming up.
And I want to shout out some of the people that are in the room
Yeah.
that's not up here, who's a part of what we doing here. Yeah, I got some.
Last question, and then we'll close out.
No, mine, thank you.
She don't need a mic.
It's not for it's for our listeners.
Yeah, we need to have
Is she loud regardless? I'm kidding.
My girl right there.
Hello, my name is Heaven.
Hello, Heaven.
They have been.
So I'll grab your name, Mr.
I'm Ray.
Got you, Mr. Ray.
Oh,
Keyshawn.
Mr. Keyshawn. Mr. Keyshawn mentioned something about using whatever ideas you have to just get into the business if you want to be in the business. Now, I know myself to be a Renaissance woman, and prior to learning that I would like to be in cannabis, I would know that my interests and my skills are in many different areas. Right now, I've applied to be a bud tender, but I know I want to be more in the science of it. Like Jasmine over here, yeah. So I want to know, as a multitasker as well, how would you all advise I healthily, without burning out, because I've experienced that before, as an entrepreneur as well, how do I healthily not burn out while still engaging in many different categories of the cannabis business?
I would say, same thing, I'm all over the place. The only way for you to not burn out is to recognize when you're getting to that point and find for you what is that break. And you need to exercise that, when you need to. Depending on what your burnout time is, you know what I'm saying? You can find something that you can take away, that's your getaway from everything, enjoy that moment, refresh yourself so that way you can get back healthily with the right energy and the right attitude to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
Multitask.
Good answer.
Good question. Come up here, front and center. Come up here, brother.
I like this guy. He got a Met hat on. You rarely see the Met hat.
Yes.
Right here. Terrence, I'm from Bush Lake.
My boy.
Boogie.
Right.
Salute.
The most important question, funding. Where do you get the funding from? Who do you go to get funding? Who do you talk to about funding?
Do you have a license?
No, you don't have
Okay.
a license. My problem was that I didn't get caught.
Okay.
Isn't that funny?
Don't
That's the
have
problem.
any business experience, and I was trying to figure out where I was going to get extra funding.
Wow.
What are you trying to do?
I was looking to open up a dispensary at the time, but now I'm looking more towards the micro business.
So I would say apply for the micro license. That's gonna be the first thing before you think about funding.
Okay, another question. Jersey, what do you have about Jersey? What do you think about Jersey?
Jersey is another state that just went legal, so it's wide open for opportunity.
Okay,
Easier, from what I hear, is easier in Jersey than it is in New York.
okay.
It was definitely something
You fat.
Just
interesting.
the funding.
So funding in New York State, so is DASNY, they provide a funding, right? So you have an option with your license to either go with that or to fund it yourself. There's people that have gone that route, but in my experience, just speaking to licensees who have opened and have dealt with that, it's been a struggle for them, right? Me as a contractor, more or less, I know what it takes to build something out, right? But their numbers are like 10 times over, and then they give you the funding. They're gonna give you $2-3 million, and then, you basically, it's like you're stuck with a $2-3 million house, while you're trying to run a business. So you add that into your expenses, and a lot of people have struggled with that. But then there's people that have had success with it. Then, the other route is you funding it yourself or getting investors. And that's what you got to get savvy at, because investors,
And-
he said, investors are, like he was saying.
And you gotta be
They-
I'm sorry to
Go
cut
ahead.
you off, but you gotta be very careful too with investors, because once they hear it's marijuana, if from $1,000 it turned into 10,000, just because they hear marijuana.
Okay.
Right.
On the funding side, I'll add to that too. For me, I mean, again, I was blessed. I come from the real estate game as well. I own property. I know tons of contractors, plumbers, electricians. So when I got involved in cannabis, I knew the build out wasn't gonna be a struggle for me. Just a matter of choosing somebody who was available to do the build out. That's how we got this here. But then also being in real estate and owning real estate, I leveraged my real estate. And then I went to other people in real estate or who in business, and they leveraged their portfolio too. And that's how we got the funding, because United Chase and the city banks and the federal banks, they won't loan you any money because it's only state regulated at this point. But credit unions tend to be friendly. There's a few credit unions out there, and they're all over the country. So now that I found the one that works for me, I get calls all the time from all these then you got private funding as well. But to your point earlier, you got to find out what's going to be the least expensive funding. Yeah, some of them going to charge you astronomical
Yeah.
rates. Some, but the credit unions I found to be very beneficial to me, and they're hungry.
Okay.
So that's how you fund.
And a lot of people will tell you it's going to cost you $1 million to $2 million to open up a store. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. Should I open up mine with like 300,000? It's not true. So that $1 million and 300,000. That's all I needed because
And it's crafty, so you can get credit. He did Ray did a really good job.
yeah.
He did a really good job.
My thing was to open up quick and start selling weed. I mean, obviously I care how it looks, but my thing was just to open up, start making money.
Okay.
I mean, wanted to look nice, obviously,
You
but
were the one
it's
who
not
bought,
gonna.
where Biggie was at?
Yeah.
Oh, so he was the one who painted over Biggie.
Yeah, that's the, it wasn't it.
No, you,
Man. You wanted me to.
oh, he came in for you.
You know that actually helped me.
It did. It was on the news. You heard about that?
Because, all right, long story short, I have a baby picture on my side of the wall.
The baby, right? The baby.
We didn't want to erase it. Who don't like baby? I'm born and raised in Bushwick, Brooklyn, all my life, around the area. So OCM said we couldn't have that on the wall.
Yep.
So we was like, all right, we're gonna erase it, but not erase it. So we got some special glue. It was a special glue. So you put the glue on, then you paint it. So once it was allowed, we could just wash it off.
Oh wow. I know that.
Preserved it, obviously. So OCN threw us under the bus. Was like, oh, we didn't tell them to take that down. Like, like, fuck it, so all right. We call the news back again. Hey, we have a glass door. OCN said we can have it. So we had the news people there for like a whole week, like almost 2 weeks. Great publicity. Nobody.
It was, man. I saw it on the news. It was on the news. Yeah.
So we like, fuck it, we take it.
Yeah.
You know, it was fucked up because the person that was bashing us was not even from Bushwick or Brooklyn. You know, he was up pink with us, son, and then he was bashing us, and I didn't want to erase the picture because I like Biggie. I grew up on him. I'm 46 years old. I grew up on Biggie. Yeah, not really Tupac, but Biggie. Because Biggie and Jay-Z, that's what I grew up on. And long story short, it was a good thing, you know, that we erased it, but we brought it back. You know, and yeah, we had a lot of backlash from the people, and then they realized who I was, and you know, I'm from there. And I wasn't trying to, you know, and they seen that we wasn't lying because they thought we just painted it, and oh, that thing is gone. We're like, nah, it's still right there, and you know, it was a good thing. It was a good thing for the community, you know.
Your sales doubled that day, right?
That's the main point.
That's great. And just a little quick clarification. When you talked about funding earlier, my credit union is not funding my cannabis business. They were just cannabis friendly, so I can actually hold my money in their bank account. So I didn't get funded by, there's just a few. So I was self-funded by me and my investment team. That's how we raise money to build this out. But with that being said,